I want to address, particularly today, those of you that have felt at one moment or another over recent weeks, months, even years, a kind of sadness, maybe even a touch of depression about how things are developing, especially here in the United States, but globally. Quite a few folks have been feeling powerless, not clear about a way forward, and yet deeply and increasingly distressed by the rising inequality, the instability, the polarizing political hostilities everywhere, and are upset, and rightly so, by right-wing impulses and movements that come to the fore, and wondering and worrying about a way forward. Is there one? What might it be? I want with you to go through a moment of American history when that kind of feeling was widespread and was overcome, because I want to leave you with the lesson what we were able to do before, we can do again, only even better this time. So I want to go back about 100 years to the 1920s and 30s to talk about what happened there. The 1920s were a time of despair and upset, covered over by a kind of frenetic energy. The frenetic energy was captured in the phrase, the roaring 20s, which is what people talked about. The image was of flappers dancing. The image was of excess. The image was of parties in Florida as the land was gobbled up for resorts and all of that. But the truth is, people were becoming increasingly depressed, and for good reason. The labor movement in those years was tired and old. It had fought valiant struggles at the end of the 19th century and into the beginning of the 20th. There had been the explosion of interest in the American Socialist Party and its leader, Eugene Victor Debs. But the war, World War I, and the decline of the Socialist Party and the tired decline of the labor movement left people in the kind of mood they are in now. That's why I'm picking it. But something amazing happened in the 1930s. An entirely new labor movement exploded onto the scene. We had literally the opposite in the 1930s, called the CIO, relative to what we had had before, the AFL. The AFL organized skilled workers into relatively small units who were able to get, because they were skilled, decent wages, since it was difficult for an employer to replace a skilled worker with someone off the street. The CIO, Congress of Industrial Organizations, started by John L. Lewis, the head of the Mine Workers Union in America, set its sights on all workers, skilled, semi-skilled, unskilled, industry by industry. And across the 1930s, they organized millions. They became much bigger than the AFL. But more importantly, they showed working people that if you get together and you set your sights on it, you can do something in the United States that people had despaired of doing, organizing millions of people into labor unions that were militant and powerful. There is no reason to believe that what we in fact accomplished in the United States in the 20s and 30s, that transformation, cannot be done again. Likewise, with an older, tired labor movement being upstaged, if you like, by a surging new one. It's happened before, it can happen again.